We're going to have one of them low-key wars, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the low-key kind. Sure. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. The radio show is about to join us. Let's get to work. We're talking low-key, ladies and gentlemen, which may or may not be different than a war on the down low. I don't actually know if there is a difference. I do know that a low-key war is not actually a thing. I mean, if you just want to sit there and keep up the economic sanctions and slowly starve Iran, you can, but these are people who are fine with being starved. They're fine with waiting you out. They've actually said they're fine with waiting you out. Maybe that's their whole plan, the belief that they can, the belief that it's no problem, no issue, they can last because the United States can't last. Isn't that their game? Isn't that their approach? The United States can't handle the idea that somehow oil prices will go up. I think we can. I just think you have to sell people on the idea. Something that President Trump did not do. It's amazing the amount of things that could have been thwarted in all of this if the White House had just done the basics. But dear Lord, we actually think that low key is a thing. And if it is a thing, exactly how does it work? I'm a man with questions. And while Axios is talking about low key, how about the Wall Street Journal with a story that doesn't connect at all? I'm going to break this down for you. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you guys. Find everything I do at TonyKatz.com, live streaming on YouTube and Rumble. Tony Katz, just look for Tony Katz Today, and get in there, get in the chat room. Good to see everybody as everything's building up and people are piling in. Axios reported that President Trump's plan is to be low-key. We are only semi-negotiating with them. We are just watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact that they have no money. Their economy has been in bad shape for forever. It hasn't stopped them from engaging in bombings of U.S. bases. Can the strategy, the siege mentality actually work? Sure it can. Of course it can. But anytime the Iranian regime feels uppity, are you okay with taking a series of bombs and a series of drones to a base in Jordan or to an area in Kuwait or somewhere in Saudi Arabia, etc.? That's the question. Low key. That's what you said. If that's what low key means, okay, that's low key. All of this so you can possibly keep the strait somewhat open as long as oil is under $75 a barrel. Everything's going to be all right? That's not the right approach, Mr. President. By the way, oil is at $81.15 a barrel. So, again, not the right approach. And I know what you're saying, Tony. You got to give the president time. You don't understand. He's playing 9D chess. Sometimes the man can just be wrong. Can I help you? The people out there like Senator Chris Murphy and others, these progressives who want to see America lose, they're amongst the most disgusting people on planet Earth. But the president isn't approaching this right, and you got to stop pretending that he is. You got to stop loving on him so much, doting on him so much, that you don't look at reality. Would you cut it out? I get the argument. The press never notices when their guy is falling apart. Joe Biden, as Hunter Biden describes it, has prostate cancer and it has spread. It should be understood that Democrats were willing to lie to let that guy be president. He'd be dying in the Oval Office right now. They didn't care. They didn't care. Neera Tanden and Corinne Jean-Pierre and all the rest, they didn't give a good holy damn. You think Kamala Harris gave a damn? They needed that debate to happen more than oxygen to move him out. They would have let this happen to the country. Anything for power. Reason number 9 bajillion why I'm not one of them. I'm not going to be somebody who looks at the way Trump is handling this war and say, hey, he's got a maneuver and a plan. You just watch how this all works out. I'm watching. It's not working out the way I would like. Hey, look, if the president wants to continue to go down this road, he can. You want to deal with an idea of economic pressure and low key, knock yourself out. Go right ahead. But don't tell me about negotiations anymore. Don't tell me about any of it. Don't put Scott Bessent out there to lie to me. Don't put J.D. Vance out there to be ridiculous on when it comes to foreign policy. Don't do it. I want to see you win. I don't know why you don't want to see you win. I don't know why you want this way. We should be clear that there are no deals to be made. So if you keep telling me, oh man, they want to make a deal so badly, it's a lie. Stop lying. Stop it. How dare you, Tony? President Trump is the guy who makes the deals. That's what he does. He makes deals. There's no deal to make. Why not grow up? Stop being ridiculous. Stop being in the cult. Stop buying into the con. No better than all these lefties who told me that Joe Biden was of good health. Same garbage. I'm not interested in the garbage. There's no deal to be made. There's no one to make a deal with. I have been somebody discussing that when we're talking about the Iranian regime, these are people who want the caliphate, right? They are Islamists and they want to see a total takeover, total control. Somebody had written, it was a really, really good piece about the idea that, and I can't remember, they're on Substack and I can't remember their name. It's killing me. That what if it isn't about that? It is about power, but a different kind of power. It's about staying in power for survival. That if we were to take a look at the Iranian regime and see how fractured it is, there's nobody making decisions there. And we've already discussed this because the people making the decisions are the members of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. But the IRGC is not working in tandem, in concert with each other. They're their own factions, their own fiefdoms. That seems obvious too. That what we have had happen here is that because of the bombings that we have done, which have been successful, let's not kid ourselves. Don't believe the Chris Van Hollens or the Chris Murphys or any of these beta male progressives. We have done great damage to Iran. To say otherwise is laughable in its ignorance. And what we have done is we have eliminated the ability for a singular person to be a person of power. And so therefore the idea of a leader or leadership as a whole has been replaced by what I guess one could call faction. We're dealing with a group of IRGC members over here and a group of IRGC members over there. And then there's this group over there. And then there's that guy over there. He's just nuts. Nobody even talks to that guy. And they're all acting in their own best interest to be able to create their own wants. Some of these wants are about power and control and money. Some of these wants are about power, control, money, and the caliphate. Not everybody may be connected on that ideological tip when it comes to survival. So they all act in independent ways in order to best achieve this. Then there are those parts of the IRGC that are working with those outside of Iran to be able to move sanctioned oil to them to get sold, as we saw from someone in Turkey, making millions of dollars that way. A lot of people working in a lot of different areas, all for their own interests, and none of those interests involve making a deal with the United States. Who cares about that? Money's made the other way, the other side. That doesn't matter. Especially if you're going to calculate that Trump's going to be all low key on the thing and nobody is going to wake up to find that they've been bombed to death. No beepers are going to go off. No buildings are going to explode. There's going to be no guided missiles or drones from the Israelis. Nah. Now there's no pressure at all. There's money to be made until there's not. Until they are stopped. Until they are thwarted. There is no doubt that the Iranian desire is the end of the United States and Israel. But if we get a little more granular, they could argue that the desire is to get rid of the United States and Israel, or certainly U.S. or Israeli power in the region, so they can be the power in the region. And when you're the power in the region, you could set your own price for everything. If you think Iran is a problem without a nuclear weapon, imagine them with a nuclear weapon. Which is why when we go back to Tucker Carlson or we go back to Marjorie Taylor Greene or to Thomas Massie, none of them are America first. They're so full of crap, it's to be believed. They're full of it. They're not America first. If you don't believe in ending this regime, you are not America first. Now, I don't know how other people define America first. I define it as us over the terrorists. I didn't know that that was such a huge stretch. But Iran never did anything to us. We shouldn't bother with them. This is a forever war. That is Marjorie Taylor Greene is the Karen of her generation. She might as well be a leftist wine mom from the suburbs. Iran never did anything to us. It is an argument too stupid to actually be taken seriously. Taking out the regime matters. It's my take. I don't think low key does that. I think it actually allows them to figure out other ways to profit and to be a problem. Now, we could take it another direction and we could discuss the fact that their economy is cracking. They have massive problems. We do have huge economic sanctions and we've applied massive economic pressure. Maybe we shouldn't have given them any money when we signed the Memorandum of Understanding. And certainly, we can't listen to the Wall Street Journal when they say, oh, the Iranians want hundreds of billions of dollars in order to reopen the strait. This is their argument. This was the Wall Street Journal headline. And it read, Trump thought opening the Strait of Hormuz was imminent. Iran had other plans. I start with the baseline. Don't you ever take an article from the Wall Street Journal at face value. Especially an article that only discusses sources, senior aides. I don't know what their sources are. I must tell you that I don't know what their sources are. For weeks, President Trump has been laying the groundwork to declare victory in Iran should Tehran fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz, even floating the idea privately to senior aides that he's willing to walk away without a nuclear deal. At that moment, I stopped. I have always known, like you've always known, that President Trump could declare victory at any time. He'll call anything he wants victory. This is nothing new. We are people who understand the two rules of Trumpism. The first rule of Trumpism is Trump wins. The second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. We know this. We're all down for this. We understand it. Walk away without a nuclear deal. Well, he can't do that. He said Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. This is a legacy he's talking about here. He's willing to tarnish the whole legacy by allowing them to enrich uranium? So we're clear. He leaves the area and they start enriching uranium, legacy shot to hell. Gone. I don't care what his supporters say. I don't care what he says. I would laugh in his face. No legacy. If they enrich uranium, if they rebuild a centrifuge. None. So no, he can't be willing to leave even if they have a nuclear weapon or the ability to make a nuclear weapon. Now you say to me, Tony, I thought he obliterated their nuclear capability at Natanz and at Fordo and Isfahan. That's what he said. Words coming back to haunt him because he couldn't keep his powder dry on the subject. Oh, please, don't get me wrong in my frustration. Don't get me wrong in my pleasure of seeing those three areas bombed to hell. Making it more difficult, this is a good thing. I supported it then, I support it now, and I say, bravo. But don't say obliterated and then come back to the idea that you got to keep doing it. Don't double speak and triple speak and then talk about deals and all the jazz. You just sound ridiculous and you're making yourself look weak. You are. You are. But I am not about to buy into this story, this reporting from the Wall Street Journal that Iran has got all the cards and they want hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S. to pull out, and then they'll open the strait because Trump is so desperate for lower oil prices that he'll do anything going into the midterms. I could argue that he's willing to let things sit for a few months until the midterms are over and try and have fairly okay oil prices. I could argue that's even a strategy. I could argue that the low key and just waiting them out economically is a strategy. But it's not a strategy for the long term. Walking away is not a strategy. Low key is not a strategy for the long term. In the end, the deal doesn't have to be made with Iran. The deal has to be made with Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and the UAE and Jordan. They are the ones who have to get this problem done with because it's theirs. Just like we made Russia NATO's problem, we have to make Iran the Middle East's problem. They have to handle it. We were discussing this last week, and I'm more and more convinced that this is the right course. You have to get them out. You have to get the regime out. And that's the deal that the president has to make. But if he walks away with them being able to even think about a nuclear weapon, that is legacy shattered and not Trump's want. This is Tony Katz today. So, first of all, guys, good to see you. Secondly, I have been working on the scheduling thing. And what I did was I scheduled the live stream early. But I realized I didn't actually schedule it on YouTube. I just said there was a live stream coming. That's what I did. And now I'm in the mobile chat and I'm talking to the trolls. There you go. I asked a guy named Devin, it's like, Iran's playing Trump like a fool. They had nukes for the last 40 years. What a massively dumb take. Holy hell. To which I said, Devin, how much don't you know? Because it sounds like you don't know a lot. That's That is the joy I'm having in the other chat right there. Anyway, good to see you guys. So, yeah, I thought I had scheduled it properly. So I was right in the concept, but I was just wrong in the scheduling. I still haven't figured it all out. So, but by the way, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to schedule things early so people can find us quickly. That's exactly what we're trying to get done. I'll keep it in the military family and talk about this leaker. The story of this secretary, where the Pentagon has accused the former secretary of, I believe, Secretary of the Air Force, of leaking information about Air Force One. Tony Katz today, an absolute pleasure. Sean Parnell, Pentagon spokesperson, said effective immediately, the Department of War has revoked former Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall's eligibility for access to classified information and his ability to hold any sensitive position. This action follows his unauthorized disclosure of classified information regarding Air Force One's capabilities to a media outlet. Safeguarding classified information is a non-negotiable duty. Well, that's correct. That is absolutely correct. Now, this goes back to Trump and the administration putting out a subpoena for New York Times journalists, because the New York Times, remember, we talked about this at the press conference when the president was in Turkey. He was in Ankara, and we're like, are they trying to get him killed by talking about Air Force One? And why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing that? What's wrong with Air Force One? What were they doing? Because they reported that the new 747 gifted by Qatar was swapped out because of a security precaution. And then the reporters were like, well, it wasn't retrofitted with sufficient security measures. And then there were questions about whether it had the proper missile defense systems and other modifications. If that information was leaked out, yeah, goodbye. And I think it should be jail time. And then, of course, we asked the question, it's one thing to have the information, it's another thing to report the information. Yes, in a world, in a nation of free speech, not a world of free speech, the reporter can report. Didn't get it through any illicit mean, got the information. Should they? Well, that's a conversation for a bourbon. But it's not enough to just take away the classified opportunities of the leaker. There got to be charges. They got to be put through hell and then some. In a very, very large scale way. Leaking information is just not acceptable on any level. And we need to go after leakers with everything in us, and they have to suffer. They have to suffer terribly. Absolutely, they have to suffer. And so they should. Oh, we never should have taken the plane from Qatar. And the idea that we would fly an Air Force One that doesn't have all the proper safety protocols, criminally insane. If indeed that's the way it flew. Representative Ocasio-Cortez wants to change the game. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Oh, yeah. The whole 1.0 wokeness. Goodness gracious. Now, do me a favor. A couple things. I need a couple things done, if you would. First, I need you to hit like. I need you to hit subscribe. I need you to do all the things on YouTube and all the other places. If you would, immediately do that. Let's see that stuff skyrocket. And then if you're on X or anywhere else, would you please tell your friends that you're watching the show, and let's get everybody in here. Then I need you to go over to tonykatz.substack.com, and I need you to subscribe. That's what's got to happen. That's what I'm asking for. That's the help I need today. We're going to work on building these things up. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Also, gladly, my finger is healing up. This is the finger I closed in a car door. And I'm surprised it wasn't worse. I'm surprised it wasn't worse. Like, it could have been super ugly. Super duper ugly. Okay, so there's that one. Hold on. It's interesting also, as we're watching live streams, usually the mobile does better, and today, not at all. I wonder why that is. We have so much to learn. Oh, thank you, Dark Rogue. Although I don't know what in the world the jewels do yet. Like, I have absolutely no clue what the jewels do. Right? So there's a laughing disco ball, and there's a star here. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate that quite a bit. I just wish I understood it. Really, really, truly do. Now, the videos are going well. It's just understanding how we build audience and grow here. There's a system, and I don't feel like I do the system right. It could be that we're very exclusive. Maybe that's it. Wait, you Dark Rogue, you sent a private message? You didn't send any weird photos, did you? I don't see it. I don't see it. Sorry, I don't. I'm staring right now. Wait, do I have to do something else to get them? See, it shouldn't be this difficult. You got to be in the X chat, and you got to hit this, and you got to do that, and you got to do the other. I don't have anything from you. Oh, wait, hold on. There it is. Like, I had no idea all these messages were here. There you go. Now I've accepted it. Nothing says everything is going super well for the political left. Nothing says everything is going super well. That's not what I wanted. Nothing says, as things repeat themselves, everything is going super well for Tony. Tony Katz today, guys, a pleasure. Sorry about that. Nothing says everything is going super well for the political left like Joe Scarborough on MS Now screaming at Democrats.
But please, I don't need people telling me, oh, you have to just turn a blind eye to people saying that women getting raped on October 7th didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. No, Americans aren't going to support that. This is not about me. This is about the Democrats, once again, fumbling the football on the 2-yard line when they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke, I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke to call out the obvious. I swear to God. It's crazy that we're even having this conversation.
He's yelling. And I think he's yelling because he understands that the madness is coming from inside the house. and it's going to cost them the midterms. Now, I'm going to dig into this in a little bit. What the numbers say versus what the reality says. But what is he talking about? Woke 1, woke 2, woke 3. So glad you woke asked. This was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was on with Jonathan Karl on ABC. And it should be understood that this is, I believe, the first time she has done a sit-down TV interview, network interview, I think in 2 years. You understand that she sees herself, and it can't have been 2 years. Could it have been 2 years? She sees herself as a presidential contender. There's a 2028 conversation about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There's a Senate conversation. She could run against Chuck Schumer and send him packing. That much, I believe, could happen. I think the presidency thing is still kind of dreamy, which is to say a dream for her, a nightmare for the rest of us. But she said this. She's talking to Jonathan Karl on ABC, and she said this.
But by the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
Oh, wait. I'll get to this. I will get to this, but I need to get to where she's talking about woke 1. Did you or did you not hear about this, where she's talking about woke 1.0? It's a true thing. Here she is, right here, and we'll play it all. I'll get to it. I promise. Let's start where we start.
So you have Wisconsin coming up next. Francesca Hong, who is the Democratic Socialists of America supported candidate for governor. You haven't endorsed her. Are you going to?
No, I haven't endorsed in that race. My focus has been in winning back the Congress, winning back the House, and positioning ourselves to have the best chance possible to win the Senate. So I've been focused on those legislative races.
What do you make of those controversial statements? I'm sure you've seen. I mean, she's, the Thanksgiving dust up. She says she doesn't, still believe that, but, the abolished prisons, abolished police, which is also positions that have been taken by a lot of the progressive candidates who have won. How do you get around that?
Yeah.
I mean, those are not positions that are supported by...
Right. I think that a lot of these races, even right now, they'll have a tendency to be nationalized.
Yeah.
But these races ultimately are local, and all politics are local. My understanding is that that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot of that.
Right, she's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this... saying woke 1 was crazy.
Oh my. Woke 1. What is woke 1 and what the bloody hell is woke 2? And are we on woke 2? Are we on woke 3 or woke 4? I can't keep up. First, all politics are local is a very true statement. Right? We don't question whether or not we agree with the statement, all politics are local. Was that Tip O'Neill who first said that? Where does the quote, I know where the quote comes. I can picture it. But no one who's a member of the Democratic Socialists is dealing with any local anything. There are no local subjects. None whatsoever. Everything comes from on high. From a group of people who absolutely want to do away with the Constitution, who want to do away with prisons, and when confronted, cannot answer a single question on their own. They can't. They don't have any capacity. If you speak to these people, you check out what they are really about. They cannot answer a question on their own. They don't have it. When confronted, they just fall apart. These socialists are amongst the most nutty and the most dangerous and the most ignorantly stupid group of people who ever existed. This is the co-chair of the DSA in her own words.
But we do believe in taxing the hell out of millionaires. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what does taxing the hell out of them mean?
Yeah, I don't have like a solid, but I think.
But shouldn't you? I mean, if you're the co-chair of the DSA, shouldn't you be more specific than just taxing the hell out of something? What exactly do you mean?
So again, it's democracy, right? And we have to look at what we need to spend and what we need. We don't want to depend on the existence of millionaires because that means people are still getting exploited. So yeah, we need to look at what we need to pay for in the interim, what sort of tax base we need for that to happen. And
she doesn't know what tax the hell out of them means because she's not willing to say, we're going to put a gun to their head and we're going to take everything. The millionaire cannot exist because she just said if the millionaire exists, somebody's being exploited. So we have to get rid of all the millionaires. Therefore, we have to take what is theirs, including putting a gun to their head, which is why we run for office, so we can have the guns. We run for office so we can have the guns to put it to their head to be able to take their money because they don't deserve it. That's the point of the DSA. That's not all politics are local. That is their entire agenda in a nutshell. They can argue they don't know what they mean by tax the hell out of them. But what they mean is take everything. And after they get the millionaires, they'll take down the 750,000-aires. And then they'll take down the 500,000-aires and then the 50,000-aires. They will take all the money. That's the goal. That's who they are. So is this now woke 2.0? And what in the world is she talking about with woke 1.0? Woke 1.0. Notice what she's trying to do in this conversation. Notice what she is trying to say in this conversation about woke. Let me play this for you again for the people in the cheap seats.
And communism.
I think to me, the fundamental difference.
She's saying that woke 1.0 was yesterday. Now we're on to today. Why aren't you focused on today? That's the argument. Let's go back and listen to it one more time.
Her present stances to her electorate.
She's moved away from it.
Right, she's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. Okay, that's
and I think that what's important is...
And why is she smiling and laughing about it? She was part of it. What is with these radicalized communists and their constant smiling while they look aggressively to take your rights in life from you? These people are creepy as can be. Mamdani's always smiling as he's talking about ending Western civilization. Woke one. You see, so if you're still talking about those things, oh, you're living in the past. Why are you talking about what happened yesterday? We're on to today. Why are you living in the past? Why are you relitigating that? Move on. Tell them to move on from January 6th. Our point is that we can't move on from Anthony Fauci. We just got the proof that he lied. You want me to move on? He's a liar and a fraud. Why isn't he in jail? He ruined lives. Move on from woke 1.0? You mean during the George Floyd riots where you burned businesses to the ground, you destroyed lives, people got killed, and now we're supposed to be like, oh, whatever. We're on to the new stuff. The new stuff? The old stuff was so damn murderous. What new stuff? These people are horrifying in every way. You're not wrong. Woke 1.0. She's trying to do away with the past while positioning herself as a leader. The democratic socialists are unable or incapable of explaining their positions. I mean, this goes back to where we started. You try and get Ocasio-Cortez to explain the difference between a communist and a socialist.
By the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy, and we believe in the ballot box.
Fundamentally pro-democracy. That's take. They are fundamentally pro-democracy, so they say, as opposed to the communist. Can I ask if anybody believes that? If they were pro-democracy, how come they're so supportive of working with the Islamist who doesn't believe in democracy at all? And never mind that all the socialism always leads to communism, which has nothing to do with democracy. What possibly is she discussing here? Who does this actually attract? Well, it attracts the people who already believe, and certainly it might attract the 20-year-old. This is what we're up against. But this is also what America is seeing, and they seem to be, to the point that Joe Scarborough is making, turning against. This is some maddening talk. We're going to further break this down and explain exactly how rough it's going to be for them in the midterm going down this road. That's coming up. Keep it here, guys. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. An absolute pleasure. Now, to answer your question, Dark Rogue, we are going to, and good afternoon to you, Brian. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into what happened with the WNBA, what happened with was Johnny Carrington and Sophie Cunningham. Oh, we have got the take for sure, and how the WNBA doesn't know what a woman is. That is coming up after the top of the hour break. I have got that for you. But Dark Rogue was making the point that no one ever says, what is a man? It's a woman they don't know the answer to. Do they know what a man is? I think is a fine and legitimate question. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate the support. Can't thank you enough. We will get to that. Do me a favor, hit like and hit subscribe and do all the things that you would, and tell your friends to get in here. They can watch live on Twitter, right? I can give you that link right there. Right, so they can watch live on the Twitter, on the X. They could also watch live. You're already watching it on YouTube. So if you would share that link, I would greatly appreciate that as well. We're gonna build this mother up. Sorry, we're the grooviest show out there. Let's go prove it. That's my plan. That is the goal. That is everything. So thank you so very much, guys. I appreciate it quite a bit. I haven't seen anybody from the crazy chat. Let's see if I can get to the crazy chat. Nope, no one's in the crazy chat. That's good. That's excellent. Yeah, because we do the show both in the standard style and the landscape, which you're watching probably a desktop or laptop. You could watch on your phone, and then we've got a mobile version to make it easier for people who are on their phones. And then very often in the chat room in the mobile version, everybody's criminally insane. I mean, like in need of therapy, criminally insane. Sometimes it's hilarious. Digone? Wait, hold on. How is it pronounced, Dusty? Digone? No. Dijone. Joe, as in Joe. As I was reading that story about President Trump and Iran, and it's gonna be like a low-key war. And I was like, oh, holy heck, low-key. That is something else. Tony Katz today, an absolute pleasure, guys. Great to be with you. Live streaming YouTube and Rumble. Come check it out and get in the chat room. A lot of good people there. Some of them have snacks. I caught this story about Bernie Sanders. Sanders calls for AI development pause. And I scratched my head a little bit and I said, only a low-rent commie could come up with that. Not, hey, have we taken a look at safeguards regarding the usage of AI? That's not a development pause. You can't unring the bell. You're not going to stop companies from working on developing AI technology. You're not going to stop them from dealing with an ever-advancing China. What kind of thing is this? You want to stop that from happening? This is the kind of person, Bernie Sanders is the kind of guy who would have stopped car manufacturers from making cars. He would have stopped the Wright brothers. Nope, you cannot fly. I need to make sure this is okay and figure out how we get money from it. That is my Bernie Sanders. It isn't great. It isn't great, but it's not bad. It's not bad. How are you gonna? What would make government think they could do this? They don't understand anything about this stuff. You don't understand anything about it. You're Bernie Sanders. You've never created anything in your life. You never signed the front of a paycheck. Your whole life is taking government money as an elected guy. You've never created anything. Why would I listen to you about AI development? Safeguards is a different thing. Maybe there's a role for government in that. Development, stay out of the way, commie. You don't know how to do anything. I'm Tony Katz. Your wife knows how to bankrupt a college. Aside from that, you don't know anything. My Bernie Sanders impression is better than that of radio host Tony Kinnett? Well, good. Good. Teach that kid what's what. All right, so here's the story. By the way, Strategic Petroleum Reserve below 300 million barrels. Massive issue. Absolutely massive issue. Nothing we can't replace. Why don't we just take Carg Island and replace it now? I don't know what we're waiting for. I don't know what we think we're going to win with the waiting. Except to say that you can allow the economics to do damage. I'm fine with trying. I just don't think it could be that alone. So here's the story. We are in the commercial break right now for the radio station. So we're in break right here. Kick back, hang loose, smoke them if you got them. We'll be back in just a little bit. Keep it here. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. Let's talk about the WNBA. And the reckoning is here. The reckoning is here, and it is joyous. They're going to have to figure out what the plan is. They're going to have to figure out how they're going to deal with their inability to say that women are women. We will get into it. What happened with Sophie Cunningham, with the whole thing. Let me go back to some comments. And I think it was Jim who was talking about how to do some things with YouTube. I want to get back to that. Also, it's Dijonay. Dijonay. That's her name. Dijonay Carrington. It's Dijonay. Dijonay. Like shoe. Dijonay. Pronounce your name for me. You put Dijonay. Dijonay. I'm going to go with Dijonay. It's the best I can do. I've never heard it pronounced. I do much less watching. I do much more reading. It creates some problems at times. But yes, as we're building things out here on YouTube and building out audience and learning how to connect with people and get seen and stuff, I got to tell you, some people are naturals at it. I am certainly not. So I need to get some more help with this. The radio show is back. You guys know there's a radio show here, right? We're heard in places across the country. And so we're going to come back. I admit to you that I don't know anything about Dijonay Carrington. What I know is she had the flagrant foul against Sophie Cunningham in that WNBA game, and she got ejected from the game. Right. And I know that people said, well, Sophie Cunningham, she did exactly the same thing last year, and she got ejected. What's the big deal? There's no big deal. It was a foul. It was a flagrant foul. And she got ejected. When Sophie Cunningham did it, it was a flagrant foul, and she got ejected. Makes perfect sense. The difference is that Sophie Cunningham didn't then go to social media and claim white privilege. The racism and bigotry of the WNBA on full display, which has always been there, and they have not come to a reckoning to. That's all right. That's fine. The reckoning has come to them. It's time for the ladies to have to deal with that reality. Tony Katz Today. Guys, great to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. TonyKatz. That's how you spell my name. TonyKatz.com. And of course, live streaming on YouTube and Rumble. Check it out for yourself. Just go to Tony Katz Today on either platform. On the Twitter X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Inez Kanter and Royce White have declared for the WNBA draft. These are men who have taken a look at the rules and said, well, there's nothing here that says I can't declare for the WNBA draft. So I'm going to declare for the WNBA draft. I'm going to say, hey, I am of the lady folk, and that's that. You know what? I'm not even of the lady folk. I just identify, and you don't get to ask me what that means. You don't get to have any rules about this. It's absolutely joyous that this is happening. Allow me to further define joyous. Everything involving the idea that men think that they can be women is sick, is ugly, is mental illness on display, and is horrifyingly bad. I don't believe in attacking the mentally ill. I also do not believe in buying into their nonsense. The political left did this. Not only did they believe in buying into the mental illness, they demanded that you bought into the mental illness as well. which is why everybody now has their pronouns on LinkedIn. I had somebody try to connect with me today on LinkedIn, and they have pronouns. And I said, no, thank you. I won't take anybody new. As a matter of fact, I should go through and I should get rid of everybody I'm connected to who uses pronouns. If you share your pronouns with me, why in the world would I want to be connected to you on LinkedIn? You're not interested in the work. You're not interested in working for me. You're not interested in working with me. You're not interested in what you actually do. You're interested in posturing. I don't need anybody who postures. I can find somebody who postures everywhere. I need people who could do the work. I need people who know how to work with content creators. I need to work with people who know how to get better results via social media. I don't need somebody who says, my pronouns are they, them. No, I don't want you. I don't want to work with you. You're not good enough to work with me because you're not focused on the right things. Not in the slightest. The WNBA should have dealt with this, just like they should have dealt with the racism of their league. They didn't. In the Sophie Cunningham story, where she writes, Dejanay Carrington writes white privilege. Well, this is a league that sees itself as a league for black women and gay women. It always has. It always has. I'll say it again. It always has. And they don't like the fact that Caitlin Clark has come to town. They don't like the fact that Caitlin Clark is popular. They absolutely cannot stand that it is popular, that she is popular. They can't stand that Sophie Cunningham would now be popular. Don't you know that that's not supposed to be? This is a league for this group and that group and not those girls. The bigotry on full display, and display from players and coaches and the league and the media, etc. Put that all to the side. Anybody who would say hashtag white privilege to fouling Sophie Cunningham and getting thrown out of the game is a fool, is someone not worth knowing. No leadership skills, no value to the league, no value to young women. And so I'm perfectly clear. If you're a black woman who looks at that and says, yeah, good on her, my God, are you wrong? You just want the racial divide. You want it. And I think that's pretty weird. That's pretty ugly stuff. But now we get into the part 2 of the WNBA. They already have a bigotry problem. They've had one for years. The part 2 is this story that they can't define what a woman is, and they've had 2 men declare for the WNBA draft. This also a Sophie Cunningham story, because this Sophie Cunningham story goes back to February when she was asked a question. And she said, I think girls' sports should be for girls, which is the most normal thing to say in the world. And it just got re-released a couple weeks ago, and everyone's been talking about it and losing their minds over it. What did we say right from the beginning? I'm on the record. She did not say, Sophie Cunningham did not say anything remarkable. She said something normal. She said something rational. There was no need to comment on it other than that, and yet the left wanted to attack her and the right wanted to glorify her, and both were wrong. Girls' sports should be for girls is the most normal thing ever. There's nothing new to it. Nothing at all. But people decide to lose their minds, and then people want to go out there and protest. Like you're mad at Sophie Cunningham. What you're mad at, and it seems very obvious, and if the league doesn't want to address this, this is no concern of mine. You are upset that straight white women who are attractive to a lot of people are being noticed because you don't want the league to be about that. You can't stand that the league has any of that. You can't handle the fact, you hate the fact that there might be attractive people in the league. Well, why didn't they notice these attractive people or that attractive people? I don't know. Oh, it's because everybody's a racist? Fine. Great. Everybody's a racist. Do you feel better? Did that get you anywhere? Screaming that everybody is a racist did not get you charter flights. You were flying commercial. Screaming that everybody was a racist didn't get you sponsors. Now you've got sponsors. Screaming everybody was a racist didn't get you sold out arenas. Now you have sold out arenas when the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham come to town. Oh, and a whole host of other players. I will keep saying it for as long as I can. Aaliyah Boston has been fantastic for that team in a lot of ways, a great pickup in the draft, and dear Lord, get her the ball more often. I'm in Indiana. I pay a little bit of attention to the Fever. I can't say this about other teams. You don't accept the fact that somebody doesn't look like you is popular. Maybe those people being popular will get other people to notice the people you want them to notice. Great. Terrific. Wonderful. But now you can't even describe what a woman is. Your rules, WNBA, when Sophie Cunningham said this, and the league decided to get split on this, and coaches like from the Minnesota Lynx decided to wear shirts that say trans kids belong. What do you mean belong? The coach of the Golden State Valkyries, sports is about belonging. No, it's not. Jennifer Say of XXXY Athletics said it correct. This is about the elites. This is about the elites. The last thing about this is not inclusive at all. It's totally exclusive. This is a very special club. But they wouldn't say that this is a league for women. They wouldn't stand up for women. You didn't like what Sophie Cunningham said. Okay, fine. I don't know what she said is weird, odd, or strange. It was totally normal. But now when confronted with this, you won't even say, look, this is a women's league. And there's a difference between women and men. You won't say it. So don't blame this on Sophie Cunningham. Blame this on the coach of the Lynx, Cheryl Reeves, and blame this on the coach of the Golden State Valkyries, Nikasi. They're the ones who did this. And all of those people who decide to scream and yell about Sophie Cunningham, they created this situation. And so you've got Inez Cantor, also known as Inez Cantor Freedom, and Royce White, who I know nothing about, saying they're going to enter the draft. Because there's nothing that is in there that can be utilized to question him. I understand he's a man. Please accept this formal document as my official written notification to the Women's National Basketball Association, my voluntary decision to enter the player pool for the 2027 WNBA draft. Consistent with the current league collective bargaining agreement, I am submitting this notice to exercise my draft rights and to affirm that I at least 22 years old and I have no remaining intercollegiate eligibility as required. I request that the WNBA League office verify receipt of this document and direct any future communication to my personal email address listed above. Thank you for your official processing of my registration into the 2027 draft pool. Respectfully submitted this 6th day of August, 2026. They can't explain what a woman is in the WNBA. And now they're having a meeting to do just that. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Is it Engelbert or Engelbrecht? Isn't it Engelbrecht? That's what I thought it was. The commissioner. Yeah, it's Engelbrecht. Thank you. The commissioner puts out a memo that says, I wanted to reach out to share how we are approaching these conversations at the league office and to thank those of you who have responded to questions from the media with thoughtfulness and professionalism. We recognize that this is a complex and nuanced topic, and we will continue to have important conversations with all of you and the Players Association in the weeks and months ahead. We also plan to convene additional discussions and offer listening sessions for any team leaders who would like to participate. Your perspectives and feedback are invaluable, and I appreciate those who have already reached out to share their thoughts. It's not nuanced, and it's not complex. Dejanay Carrington is a bigot. And the league is chock full of bigots who hate the fact that white women are seeing success. They hate it. That's on them, not on me for noticing. You can send me any email you want. Go right ahead. Knock yourselves out. You want to send me some hate mail? Feel free. Send it to marklevin@yahoo.com. Don't want to hear your crap. Blame her for being a bigot. That's on the racism side, not complex, not nuanced. On the side of what makes a woman, not complex and not nuanced. That you say it's a complex and nuanced topic, Catherine Engelbrecht, makes you the problem, Commissioner, because you can't say what is so obvious. There's a difference between women and men. Men are not women and men are not welcome in this league. Can't say the words. You can't say the words. You're so afraid of the players. You're so afraid of the coaches. You're so afraid seemingly of the ownership. You're so afraid of the fans. You're so afraid to not be invited to the Christmas party that you can't say there's a difference between women and men. You can't speak the truth. You have been broken. They control your speech. They control your honesty. They control your decency. You're so afraid of them. You are so afraid. You can't say, no, Enes Kanter, you can't join because you're a man. And this is a league for women. Have a nice day. The W stands for women. There's a difference between men and women. And just because Ketanji Brown Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, is too stupid to note the difference doesn't mean we are. Of course we're smarter than a Supreme Court Justice. You can't do it. Leftist women can't stand up for women. Neither can leftist men. They can't stand up for women. And when they do, they get ostracized. They get pushed to the side. They get called TERFs or whatever bloody heck term they want to put out there for J.K. Rowling or Martina Navratilova, who's wrong on a bunch of things, but not on this. I don't care how much pain, they feel. I don't care how upset they get. By the way, it's Engelbert, not Engelbrecht. I don't know why I get that wrong, and I apologize. Kathy Engelbert, B-E-R-T. Kathy Engelbrecht is someone completely different. She's the commissioner. She can't say this. She cannot say the basics. The control the left has over these people. Control their thoughts, control their speech. So much so that they can't say the basic truths. And at that moment, you realize that Atlas Shrugged was a really good book. I'm just going to sit back, eat some popcorn, and watch. I'm going to watch them just absolutely destroy themselves. Just absolutely devour themselves. It is shameful. We'll see if they figure it out. But two guys declaring for the WNBA because, you know, the WNBA wants this. And now they've got it. Oh, those must be some great meetings. This is Tony Katz today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. So Kathy Engelbrecht created True the Vote. Kathy Engelbert is the commissioner. I do that kind of stuff. Drives me crazy. Because it cuts into your own argument. Although my argument here is, my gosh, this is spectacular. And it is all about fear. They are flat out afraid. Afraid of their people. Afraid of what they've created. It really is incredible. Incredible. Somebody asked me, where was it? Hold on a second. Somebody had a comment. Now, it wasn't this one, but the WNBA doesn't have to be a joke. That's the point. They seem to want to be. Somebody asked me, I'd mostly do political. This is a political story. This is a political story. I mean, it just is. It's not a sports story. It's a political story. Hold on one second. It's certainly not a sports story. It's about a league that wants to internalize bigotry and does not want to be interested in what it takes to be a successful league. They believe that they should be allowed to be insular, bigoted, radical in their politics, and the NBA, for the guilt of being men, should write the check. That's their argument. I was discussing the DSA earlier. And part of me thinks I should save this for three more things. But it's going to all lead into a conversation about what exactly is happening in the midterms. I hate to break this to people. I don't mean to scare anybody with this kind of commentary, but you all understand that we are officially in midterm election season. What? Don't boo me. I didn't do anything wrong. Don't get upset with me. It's August. The election is November 3rd. We are in it. The kids went back to school. That is the firing pistol. We are in election season. And how is it that they see victory? Where do their victories come from? If this is the kind of stuff that the leader of the Democratic Socialists, which is now controlling the party, is putting out into the world.
Attended on October 8th pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas rally, which many people saw as a justification of the October 7th attack. And some of her tweets have been extremely ugly on this score and on others. Do you fully support her in all these activities and what she's had to say?
I think Daria Lisa can speak for herself, certainly, and I think she's apologized for some pieces of that and has been
not for
quite
attending that rally.
Unapologetic about other pieces of that. And
do you support her yourself in that?
Yeah, I do.
You support the murder of 1,200, the rape of women, the setting of children on fire. That's the DSA. I'm Tony Katz. I mean, that's just something else. And they think that they're going to win. They don't see any backfire to this. They are very, very cool with it. Very cool with it. You can call that move against Sophie an assault all you want. I don't know if it's going to actually sell. There's a lot of physical play in the WNBA. It was a flagrant foul. She was gone, and that's that. Oh, yeah, Sophie was bleeding. Sophie's done this to other people. You do that, you're going to be gone. The foul itself is not the story. That's my point. The foul is the thing people talk about. The foul is not the story. Hold on a second, everybody. Hold on one second, everyone. Handling business. All right. I've got three more things, which I cannot wait to get to. All right. Excellent, 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 and good. Three more things. Tony Katz today. Guys, it's great to be with you. So here's how we work. Three more things. These are things that should be front page news, but because of all the things on the front page, it doesn't make the front pages. So I bring these things to you. These are stories that you should know. Of course, we've got Iran on the front page, and President Trump we're in a low-key war now. We're in the low-key war with Iran. I don't know what that's supposed to mean at all. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information, low-key. We're just going to keep up the the sanctions, and we're going to keep the economic pressure on, but that's it. See, this is in the hopes that we've got some good, solid oil prices going on. They're all up today. All the barrel price stuff is up today, having at least in the midday, being up over $80 a barrel. But if that's the way the president wants to play it, fine. Just don't tell me that a deal is coming, because a deal is never coming. There's no one to make a deal with. Then you have Colombia with a 7.4 magnitude quake. The early estimates has 73 people dead, and I think that that's going to be a low number based on what they're already showing in the imagery. Some churches collapsing in on themselves right there. It could be that it avoided really populous areas. But this number can grow. 4,800 people in this community where the epicenter was, but 7.4 is going to be felt across the region for sure. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Todd Blanche confirmed as the Attorney General. The vote was 50-49. As we discussed, it would be right here. 50-49. Is the vote. Why? Because you had Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski vote no. That would have made it 51-49. Then you had Mitch McConnell, who has not been in the Senate. He is now at home recovering after being in a rehab center from, I don't actually know what. He did not vote. Therefore, no tiebreaker was needed from the vice president. The vote was 50-49. And Todd Blanche is the Attorney General. There should have been no one at all who voted against Todd Blanche. There was just no need for it, no reason for it. If Merrick Garland can be confirmed, Todd Blanche can be confirmed. Then you have the Senate voting to not shut down the government. They voted to have a continuing resolution through December. Going past the midterms, avoiding this altogether, now sending it to the House for their vote. I guess Democrats decided that there was going to be no value in a shutdown. Maybe they saw that the shutdown didn't really do them well, didn't make their life worthwhile or valuable, didn't give them a good bit of political life. I mean, I'm happy that the shutdown is going to be avoided. Then you have an interesting note about a billboard in New York. There's this billboard that is in New York, and if you see it, you'll note that the billboard is in Arabic. But the billboard is put up by the city of New York. Why in the world would there be this billboard that is in Arabic from the city? It has something to do with some, I don't know, like a subway card or something like that. But as got noted, 22.7% of New Yorkers speak Spanish. Chinese is 5.4%. Russian is 2.5%. Bengali is 2.1%. Yiddish is 1.1%. Hebrew is 0.6%. And Korean 0.5%. Arabic 0.4%. Why is the billboard in Arabic going up? Why is this happening? Why is this happening from Zoran Mamdani? I think people have ideas and thoughts and concepts on conquering, and I must really push back against those people who want to pretend that somehow it's wrong to notice society. It's wrong to notice Islamic history. It's not wrong to notice. Christopher Hitchens was talking about this stuff years ago regarding Islam, that this is not a religion, it's a political system, and it is meant for conquest. And I'm sorry if anybody who is Muslim is offended. The reality is reality. History is there. You can scream about AIPAC and Israel all you want. Wars got started with Israel. Israel won them, took some of the land, then gave the land back. You don't have an argument. Islamists take land and believe it's their land for forever and walk through societies engaging in the desire of conquest. This is not new. This is what they are moved to do. Thus, the reality, and when the conquest comes, of course, everybody has to do what they say, and you have to live by their rules. Otherwise, you get taxed, something called the jizya, Jizya. It's a political system. It's not a religion. You have to stop thinking of it like a religion. I'm not angry. Just stating a fact. That it is incompatible with Western civilization is a fact. It's not even a surprising fact. There's nothing new about it. There's no, I didn't say anything shocking. It just is. And so when Nancy Mace puts out that Muslims shouldn't be elected, people are so absolutely offended. Nancy Mace doesn't do a good job of explaining anything. She doesn't. I think that she's a woman who had opportunities, and she let the opportunities slip her by and decide to be just a little too nutty. Marjorie Taylor Greene, exactly the same, just a different kind of nutty. Are we going to pretend that there isn't an issue taking place? That we're not seeing the Islamist desire to do away with Western civilization, and somehow there should be changes to this? We have seen this in spots in Michigan. We've seen this in spots in Texas. It is a political system that simply cannot be trusted, is incompatible with the Republic. So therefore it can't be. That is it. You can't tell me that the Islamist is not an issue, but Waco was. Those people were just living their lives. Dude, we can have a deep conversation about Waco. Like we could have a deep conversation about Ruby Ridge. But they were Americans, and they just didn't want to participate in what the rest of us were doing. I have noticed that the Islamist also does not want to participate in what we're doing, but somehow we can't notice. That's pretty mad. That's pretty nutty. But it isn't the only thing that I've got. There is a fascinating story about Gen Z. And in New York, the New York Post went and talked to some 20-somethings about cigarettes. And it turns out that cigarettes are considered cool by Gen Z. Why is that? It's because they want to be connected to something. They want an actual experience. They want to be a part of something. I was telling the story earlier that my oldest, we were in a thrift store, and there was a stereo system. It didn't have the individual components where all the components were put together, the old Sony ones, when you couldn't afford the individual components, so you got this. And it had the 5 CD carousel, and it had the 2 cassette players, and it had the small equalizer. He was mesmerized. Couldn't figure out how the cassettes worked. So I hit eject and the slow open, and he was like, "Oh, that's amazing." And then he went and he plugged it in and was able to open the carousel. He's like, "The thing spins and you can put all the discs on." And why were we in the thrift store? He was buying CDs. Because it's tactile and it's connected. And this generation is exhausted by all things digital in all places. They want that connection. We've talked about it before. Smoking. Now, my oldest has said, I have no interest in smoking, but admittedly, it looks cool. And I said, if you're smoking cigars, yes. Everything else can't. I'm not down with that. And also, if I said this earlier too, give me 10 Gen Zers who want to have a Cigar 101 class, and I will host it. I will take care of it. I will do Cigars 101 with Gen Z. Happy to put that together. They want connection. I think it's great. No, I don't think smoking cigarettes is great. I'm not going to be the guy who's down for that. But I think that they want connection, that they want to be a part of something. They want something real in their lives and not just some stupid screen. Amazing. Absolutely spectacular. I have got a lot of hope and a lot of faith for Gen Z. I do. I don't think they're radicalized, although some are. I don't think they're ridiculous, although some are. I think a lot of them just want to be able to have something real in their lives. And man, I think there's a lot that can be discussed with them. I think they could see, if you want something real, the left ain't offering that, kittens. Not at all. If you want to do something also that's good for you, you got to fight the data brokers where they are. And you got to do that with Incogni, because you've got a file on the internet that is chock full of all of your information. It's got your name and address, your email address. It's got your medical records. It has your kids' names, and it gets utilized against you in those phishing scams. You know, those text messages where someone knows way too much about you and they want you to send money or do this. The scam calls. The data brokers, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Your file gets collected, it gets packaged, it gets sold, all of it legal, and you get scammed. Scammers taking advantage of American citizens to the tune of $20 billion plus each and every year. These scammers are prepared. You have got to fight back. You do that with Incogni, INCOGNI, Incogni.com/Katz. They're the ones who go to the data brokers and say, delete this file. Your file, so it can't be utilized against you. And if any of that information creeps back online, Incogni is there to get it gone from the data brokers again. It's an non-stop battle, and Incogni wins it. Go to Incogni.com/Katz, Katz. Use promo code Katz to get 60% off right now. Incogni.com/Katz, Incogni.com/Katz. Get 60% off. Take your private life off of the market. Tony Katz Today. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Good to be with you. Just researching a story a little bit. There we go. There we are. Oh, I'm not saying you can afford a pack of cigarettes these days. Cigarettes are insanely expensive. But it's interesting that they're looking for connection. Like, I think that's kind of amazing. All right. What else we got? What else is going on, everybody? What else do we know? One minute. Excellent, producer Landon. Well done. Beauty, 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 beauty. Let's go do some cool stuff. I really do think there is something to this idea of as we're in midterm season. I mean, this is it. Primaries are basically done. I mean, you still got Wisconsin this week, a couple of small things, but everybody's in it. We're in midterm season. The midterms are November 3rd. Tony Katz today. And I take a look at generic balloting. I'm going to get more into this. Democrats are up a little bit, +7 the generic ballot. Then again, they told us that Abdul El-Sayed was up like 13 against Haley Stevens. He won by 1. So maybe the pollsters are wrong. And maybe the reason they're wrong is because there's madness like this conversation that Ross Douthat had. Are you listening?
Or overweighting the votes of younger people, or assigning the youngest eligible voters proxy votes for the unrepresented children of our country. So those are edgy.
Why not assign them to those children's parents?
Well, because there's a divergence of interest between parents and children. And I think it's likelier that young people, not people who are raising families, will have the best insight into the interests of children. Whereas if you were awarded 5
I think
proxy
that's
votes,
daft. I think it's absurd to imagine that a 24-year-old recent college graduate has a better assessment of the interests of my own children than I do. I say this with all due respect to 24-year-old recent college graduates, of whom I hope to be the parent of in 9 years or so.
I think parents generally confuse the interests of their family with the interests of their children.
That's the left. The person saying that's daft, that's Ross Douthat, formerly the New York Times, now with 60 Minutes. But that's the left. You don't have your children's best interest at heart. So therefore, we have to take it away from the parent because we have to have the children's best interest at heart. Who's we? People you wouldn't let near your children. How do you expect to win elections like this? That's the question. I'm Tony Katz. Good Lord. So I felt like I was a little bit all over the place with some of these things today. I was going back to things and jumping into things because there was a lot. And sometimes I utilize the show to kind of work out the theory. I do it live and we're kind of figuring it out. But I go through, we did a lot of stuff. We covered a lot of subjects today. I like that. I like it a lot. Guys, thank you for being here. We are here every Monday through Friday at noon. You should check it out. You should like, you should subscribe. You should do all the things. You should tell your friends, all of it. We're growing. We're building. I love that some people sent me some stuff about YouTube. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. All this part is going great. Now we just got to get the rest of it done. Oh, and Engelbert, not Engelbrecht. Man, I do feel bad about that. I do hate when I don't know how to when I don't know how to pronounce something. I don't mind, like because I've never heard it. That I could be saying it wrong. To get the name wrong because I know and I confused it with another name. That's just, I hate that because I hate that. That's just unnecessary. I'm totally prepared. It just makes you sound silly. Engelbert, Kathy Engelbert. That's the one who can't tell you what a woman is. Fantastic then. Fantastic, Kathy Engelbert. This is going to be a thing with the WNBA, but it's their problem, not ours. I appreciate you guys more than you know. I'm back tomorrow at noon. Catch me then. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, on Rumble, Tony Katz. Tony Katz there on the Twitter X. And, of course, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. I'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Be good.